Welcome to another episode of the Southern Boating Podcast. I'm Ian Sneed.
I'm James Anderson.
And today we're going to be covering three, I think, fun topics. The first one, we're going to touch on our RIB Buyer's Guide. So the rigid inflatable boats, the Buyer's Guide that came out in, hold on, what issue is this? March. And then, since our April issue is available, our Bahamas issue, we're also going to be covering our Catamaran Buyer's Guide. And then the destination piece is
Block Island, Rhode Island.
Block Island, which you are familiar with.
I have been to Block Island.
First-hand experience.
Absolutely.
So you'll get a little bit of the research that I've done, and then you'll actually get like first-hand experience with what we're talking about today.
Correct.
Fantastic.
So, always fun.
Without further ado, remember to subscribe. Let's jump into it. You like how I slipped that in there, huh?
You do not forget to subscribe,
That was
please.
slick. That was slick.
Yeah, that's smart. It's smart.
All right, let's jump into it.
All right.
The RIB's Buyer's Guide.
Which we titled Rib Roast. I kind of love the title here, actually. It's a nice play on words.
That was cute.
So right off the bat with the cover into the Rib Roast is one of our favorites.
Mm-hmm.
You've been on one.
I have.
You took a ride on a Nuova Jolly, right?
Yes. I did.
It's an Italian rib. Beautifully designed, well appointed.
Right. This is the brand that many people will recognize as the one that crossed the rib that crossed the Atlantic.
That is correct.
And I really enjoyed the sea trial that we got on.
You had a lot of fun going on.
I had a lot of fun on that one. It was the way it, again, I use the word carve. I don't know. I get that from snowboarding, I'm assuming. But the way it carved through the water, there were some pretty significant swells that day, and you didn't notice. It was
so it handled really well.
So well.
Nice.
And the captain, she was giving me some tips on how to drive the boat because, I'm getting better at that as I go. And so she was giving me little tips, and I was like, oh, this is great, because she was incredible.
It's always nice to be learning a little bit.
Absolutely.
Especially from somebody like them.
And so with larger swells, I was a little worried, but man, it didn't feel like it.
Right.
It just felt so sturdy.
So the model that you were on, was that the Prince 33 that's in the magazine?
No. This one was, I forgot.
You don't even remember now.
I don't remember the name of the model.
It was so much fun, you can't even remember.
It really was so much fun, though. That's not an exaggeration.
I'm sure you got to have fun while I was here in the office doing what I do, driving everybody else nuts.
Yeah.
So the Nuova Jolly has several different models. The one that's featured in here is the Prince 33.
Right. And this was there when we went on the sea trial. I just didn't get to go on this one.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, this was there.
That's what. The next one is also friends of ours, Highfield. And Highfield's got some new models this year that are really, really neat.
Yes.
Kind of bringing it into not being just your typical tender, but really can be more of a pleasure craft, more versatile, very, very rugged, as the Highfield, I believe, is an aluminum hull, not fiberglass.
That's correct.
So it's a little more rugged. But as well as now we got some new power options with this one. It will have twin 150s on the 800. So the Highfield Sport 800, which is the one that is featured, has a power option of twin 150s, which gets it up on plane almost immediately. And then Steve's been out on this one. And they also have the 600, which is brand new as well.
And then this one, what stood out to me was the 26-degree dead rise.
Right. Not only that, but this one comes standard with a hard top.
Right.
Which is really nice. I know for Florida, I like to actually stay away out of the sun as much as I can. I'm a little fair in complexion. So 100 SPF and dodging the sun.
It's funny. I like staying out of the sun for kind of the opposite reason. I tan so easily, which I know sounds like a blessing, but if I'm out in the sun for 5 minutes, I come back in 2 or 3 shades darker. So I can get the worst farmer's tan instantly. And I can tan all summer to have an even tan. And then I'm out in the sun with a t-shirt on for 5 minutes. And I come back and that whole summer's worth of work out the window. So like you, I kind of avoid, I prefer covers, and I kind of avoid the sun a little bit.
Trust me, the sun is painful sometimes. Now, the next one down is something, obviously we can't cover everything that's in here. And we could never cover everything with a buyer's guide. That's just not possible. There's so many models these days.
Buyer's guide, these ribs you can use as their own pleasure crafts. Like
Right.
that's the way I look at it.
It can be a pleasure craft. It can be a tender.
Yeah.
It almost is anything you want these days.
Exactly.
It is not
These are very versatile.
strictly a tender anymore.
Right.
It
Very
is-
versatile ribs that we selected for this buyer's guide.
Absolutely.
So there's a little bit of everything for everyone in here. And so that kind of takes us to the Technohull, right?
Right.
Yeah. So the Technohull Alpha 50, pretty much the second I saw this, I was like, I don't know, was it crazy for Cocoa Puffs, or am I allowed to say that? Like, I was like, yo, this rib is
Got a little side of Ian right now. And
it's
it's crazy.
something different. Like it's
It
something.
is. It's got a really nice, sleek look to it.
It's
not your
very
typical rib.
Contemporary, right?
You want to call it contemporary?
I
Sure.
would. I don't want to call it contemporary. It says a contemporary approach. So it's right in the. I'm pulling that word right out of there, but it fits so well. I think the concept of it being a contemporary approach to the way they designed it, very true. Because look at how much space there is, the aft section, right? Look at how there's a full sun pad at the front, but there's also that cockpit seating area at the bow, right?
Right.
Like there's a lot of space. This is a very
49 feet in length.
yes,
Wait,
and then it has
15-foot beam on that. Was that what it was?
I don't know.
15-foot
Yeah,
beam?
15-foot beam. Yep,
So
15.5.
That's a big rib.
And then it has quad 500 Mercuries.
Yeah, go baby.
It can go up to, I think it can exceed 90 miles per hour. This can go fast, but you can tell that it's meant for comfort. The seats, they have twin row shock absorbing seats, right? For the captain, I don't know where that is, but it's somewhere in here. And when you think about that, it's literally meant to go fast no matter what the water is doing that day. If there's high swells and you want to go fast, you can. Why? Because these shock absorbing seats are going to help you.
It's going to lessen the impact.
Yeah, it's going to lessen the impact. You're going to have a much more enjoyable experience.
Well, so it's not going to make you feel fatigued right away. Which is
right,
excellent,
which is a
right?
huge
You can
deal.
Enjoy your day a little bit longer.
Yeah, I absolutely enjoy the design of this vessel.
Right?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. You know, there's something for everybody.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I agree.
The next one, as we turn the page, is one that's been around for a while, synonymous with law enforcement.
Yeah.
RIBCRAFT.
RIBCRAFT.
Right?
Yep.
But RIBCRAFT makes an unbelievably good product. Very steady, very sturdy, very dependable. And now they got the 7.8. Again, almost kind of the same things like the Highfield with standard hardtop and so forth, but you can get it in many different configurations. And it just all the way around a very dependable watercraft. To use it either for pleasure or as a tender, whatever you like. What is neat about this one that I noticed is they've got a power option of the 300 horsepower Cox diesel outboard as an option on this, right? So as a tender on a larger ship or boat, yacht, whatever you want to call it, it works well, so you don't have to carry multiple types of fuel, right?
Right.
And that's nice. But with that, too, what I noticed was with the 300 horsepower and the 100-gallon fuel tank, it was saying it had a 400 nautical mile range. That's some good range on a tender.
On a tender, that is incredible, I think.
And not having to carry a second fuel source,
it just works so well.
So smart.
Yes, I agree. So we have, again, it's 10 ribs in this buyer's guide for you to review and enjoy. And again, this is in our March issue, which
That's
you
the
can,
March issue. That is correct.
If you did not get that in the mail and you want to access it on the digital side, just go to the web reader on our website. I'll put a link in the description so you can see what we're talking about. And I mean, with that, let's move on to the destination piece, right? Because I want to finish with the catamarans.
I have told you many a times, and now I've promised you a trip too. Just need to get it approved.
Yeah, right.
Skip, if you're watching, I'm in trouble. But anyways, I've always told you I love going to Newport, right? I've loved going to Rhode Island since I was in college. I traveled there a lot when I was in college because I went to Johnson Wales University in North Miami, but that's the home campus for Johnson Wales. So I've been going to Rhode Island for quite some time. I've always loved Rhode Island. And this is a different aspect of Rhode Island. This is Block Island, Rhode Island. It's about 16 miles away from Point Judith. You can access it also from Connecticut, Long Island. So there's multiple ways to get to it.
New York. Don't forget
exactly,
New York.
Long Island.
Oh,
New
okay.
York,
Yeah. Yeah, I can have brain farts too. That's like, I was thinking, you said Connecticut, Rhode Island, and then you said
Long Island.
right. So I heard Rhode Island and Long Island. I'm like, he just repeated himself.
Yeah,
So my bad.
Total different state.
All of New York is looking at me with the stink eye right now,
bro. My wife might beat you up later, especially since she's from Long Island.
I'll remember that.
But anyways, it's a very inviting, very mystical place. It's very fun to go to. You can ride ferries from all those different areas. Multiple places in Rhode Island you can take a ferry to. Connecticut, New York, Long Island, you can get to it. Most of the ferries are going to go to what they called Old Harbor,
which is on the eastern side.
Correct. That is going to be on the east side of the island, or what they call the east flank. And there you don't have too many options for docking your private vessel, but there are limited ones. But there is another side to the island, which is the west end of the island. And that's going to have more of the marinas and the private docking for your private vessel trip. As well as some of these marinas have restaurants at them, which is great. One of them is a completely full service with a pool, tiki bar, all of the fun stuff. But it's very inviting, very easy to get to. The weather is always a little bit different up there. It's New England, so it can be a little bit challenging at times. So you always have to be cautious of going. But as you get close to the island, it's, as the writer says in this, he starts to get excited and the enchantment of the island starts to kick in and his adrenaline calms down a little bit and he starts thinking about all the things that he can be doing, because Block Island actually offers a lot to do.
And I was going to say, that's the main piece that I took from this story is the variety of options that you have as far as activities.
Right. There is hiking, biking. You can go tour the lighthouses that are on the island. There's plenty of shopping. There's plenty of restaurants. You go into Water Street, which is in downtown Shoreham. And Shoreham is the smallest town in the smallest state.
Right.
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 Kind of nice way to say it. Smallest town in the smallest state. You go down Water Street. It's the main drag through town. There are plenty of shopping to do, plenty of places to eat, cafes, coffee shops, anything that you really like that tickles your fancy. But one of the things is going to the National Hotel that's there. It's pretty much in the dead center of town on Water Street. And it's got the Mohican restaurant, which is phenomenal. If you want to go and their bar is phenomenal too. I mean, really craft cocktails, that type of stuff. Great experience to go to. But there's other restaurants along the island, waterside restaurants that you can go to. Just a really good experience. It's nice to go there. Kind of turns the clock back for you because New England is very old, very historic. And that's kind of Block Island carries that on, right? And it's a lot of fun. I've always compared this to saying Block Island to me personally is like Rhode Island's Martha's Vineyard, right? Massachusetts has the Cape and Martha's Vineyard in Nantucket. Rhode Island has Block Island.
That's
and it's a lot of fun.
That's a fun perspective,
right? It's just a really nice place to go to. So if you're going to New England somewhere and you have a day to kind of pick up something, if you're going to Rhode Island, Connecticut, any one of these states, and you have a free day, take the ferry and go to Block Island. You will not regret it. It's a lot of fun, especially if you can afford to spend 2 days there, stay at the National Hotel, have dinner there, just have fun. It is an experience you will not regret because it's just got a lot to offer. And even if you're traveling as a family, it's got a lot to offer because you can do the bike riding and the hiking with the kids. It's got beaches as well, with lifeguards, tiki bars, just rental stuff, rental equipment for the beaches.
And if I'm not mistaken, like the dock masters there are actually very helpful.
Extremely helpful. I think it's a New England thing.
Yeah.
They like to help people. They're very inviting to visitors, and that's an important thing, right? So it's a lot of fun.
Makes sense.
My recommendation, if you're in the New England area and you got a day or two extra to figure something out with, go to Block Island. At least experience it once because it's worth its weight.
And
so moving on from that,
we're
going to talk about now what was in, because that issue, if you want to read about Block Island, is in the March issue. It's our destination piece in the March issue. And again, I loved it. I've always loved it. And it's something a whole lot of fun. But let's go ahead and move on to April's annual Bahamas issue, in which we've started doing annually now with this issue, the Catamaran Buyer's Guide.
Yes.
Right? And catamarans now come, we're not just talking about one type of catamaran.
Right.
There's multiple types of catamarans now. So we have power catamarans, outboard catamarans, which are more like the center consoles, the fishing boats, and that type of stuff. And I'm going to blow your mind because there's some in here. Express catamarans. Right?
See, now here's the thing with catamarans. I typically put them into kind of two buckets. For me, there's the lap of luxury bucket, and then there's the
when you say lap of luxury, you're talking power catamarans. Like our Horizon PCs and
exactly, yes. And then I see more of the sporting or adventurous lifestyle, right?
Correct.
And those are the kind of two buckets that my brain naturally kind of puts them into. So if we're going to start talking about this, like the first one that I see in this article, on the cover of this article, is Four Winds. And one thing that I love about power catamarans or catamarans in general is the inherent benefits that you get from the catamaran itself, right?
From having multi-hulls.
Exactly. So, and I'm talking about, yes, it's steadier on the water. There's
more fuel efficient.
There's more space that you get to play with. So when I look at the Four Winds, I also see an element of increased opportunities for design elements.
Okay.
Because I look at this vessel and I think it makes a statement.
Now, if you remember, we had you on this vessel.
Yes.
Back in October. We were on it with the designer and speaking with him and some of the cues that he picks up on.
I do remember, now that you mention it. I didn't recall that, to be honest. I did not recall that.
This is the one that Christine popped out of one of the hatches all of a sudden and startled the ever-living daylights out of me.
Which I thought was hilarious. Yes.
It was hilarious, absolutely.
Yeah, and
she was indicating how much storage space was in there, because she was almost standing straight up.
Yeah, her whole person fit in there. It was awesome.
It was neat.
Yeah.
So it's really neat design. It's got a lot of space.
The thing is, the point I want to make with the design element was that it makes a statement. The statement is, I am adventure. Like when I look at it, it makes it, and all vessels, whether it's a style or a manufacturer, they all kind of make a statement. You could look at some that say, I am luxury. You could look at some that say, I am speed. You could look at them and say, I am fishing, right? This one says, I am adventure. Yeah. Like 100% when I look at it, that's how I feel looking at it.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's not too large that you can't take it everywhere.
Exactly.
Right? You can almost take this boat everywhere.
Exactly.
Which is really, really nice. So moving on, one of the other ones I'm going to highlight on it just briefly because it's new to the U.S. We finally got on one is the Iliad 53, the 53F. Very cool. Not a new designer, but new here to the U.S. is my understanding. The first time we finally got to see one.
Right.
Just a different take on some things, offers, they make a 62 and the 53. It's just anything that new always excites me. I always love seeing, new things come to the market, mainly because it's going to change our opinions and change our views on certain things. And this one does exactly that. It kind of makes you think a little bit more about the use of space and so forth. And it's just going to be a great catamaran.
And this one with the F for Flybridge, right? It can reach 21 knots, which it can go, I think, around 3,000 nautical miles as well. So it's an all-encompassing catamaran.
It really can. I mean, if you want to go exploring and you want to live on a power catamaran, there is nothing wrong with choosing the Iliad 53F by any means.
Right, absolutely.
It is absolutely a good choice by my terms.
And then if we jump into the next category or the other category, as far as my brain works, then it's easy to talk about WorldCat, right?
So you like the WorldCat?
I do. I really like it because when I first started learning about, the boating industry, I didn't realize you could have a center console outboard Catamaran.
Yeah.
So when I saw WorldCat, I was like, what is this? This is amazing. But I look at it and you see how it's set up so that the fishermen can go out to where they want to be to get the fish that they want to catch, right? Like,
and be in a little bit more stable boat, have a
the
little bit
entire
more
time.
efficiency going out,
Exactly.
with, reserving some fuel and
Exactly.
so forth. WorldCat makes a great boat. There's no doubt about that, and they've been doing it for quite a while now.
Right.
So the one that I like is the Caymas.
I was going to say it's either
Caymas. It's
or,
just a great fishing platform. If I was gonna go out and get myself a new center console catamaran, it would probably be this 34. I was on it when they debuted it back in October at the Fort Lauderdale Boat Show, and I was instantly taken back by it. I mean, Caymas makes a great fishing vessel just to start with. They've made monohulls. They now make twin hulls, catamarans. And it's just a good brand. Their fit, finish, attention to detail, their service, everything about them. And every time I've interacted with them, I've always become more and more impressed with what they're doing. And it has a ton of options. It's really a good setup for a fisherman. And on top of that, it can be your everyday vessel to take the family out to the sandbar. So you can go fishing all morning, come home, pick the family up, take them to the sandbar in the afternoon.
Right. And I feel like that's also true for the Aquila 47 Molokai.
Absolutely.
Right.
So that's almost like a whole nother class because you're talking a 47 foot now,
yes,
right?
and
so lots more space.
Right. And that's, I think, what I liked about that one, because it's still kind of in the same category, just the size difference allows for a little more option as far as what you're doing to entertain.
Right.
You
have a lot more entertaining space.
Yes.
There.
So with the Caymas, I feel like it's the fisherman. You could take your family out, but really it's for you and your boys.
You're taking either you and your boys or you and your family, but you don't have enough to take all your friends.
Right.
Whereas with Molokai, you can bring your friends
too. Right. And so I love that because, it's according to how you want to enjoy your vessel. You can kind of pick or choose. And for me, they're in a very similar category with obviously those differences between them as well.
Right. Now, one that I found very interesting as we were doing this, WiderCat.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, if I want to go over the top, I mean, wow.
So this, I feel like the way they designed it, they were thinking, let's design a vessel that can, cut through the water or through space. Like it's
got a really neat design to it from the outside.
Yes,
it's lines. It's just all the design cues that it has as you look at it makes it look kind of like it's moving while it's sitting still.
Right,
gives it a very unique, distinct look.
Very distinct. It's a very strong and distinct design.
And we're talking, this is 92 feet catamaran, power catamaran, right? And it's got a beam of 39 feet 5 inches, so it's wide too.
Is this the one with the full
full deck dedicated towards the owners?
Yeah.
So which is really interesting, right? So tons and tons of space. It's got a 720 square foot beach club as well, which, I mean, to me, I love a beach club on a yacht. I like to be as close to the water as I can. I'm in and out of the water a whole lot. So I love it. I think it's a unique design. It's just something to look at. And then this one's got 3,000 nautical mile range too, right? So you've got a lot of options if you really are looking for something that's, if you're looking at a large yacht, but you're thinking maybe a power catamaran, this could be an option for you.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's probably a little bit more efficient than going with a yacht similar in its size that's going to offer you the same amount of living square footage.
Right.
So, and that's really important, right? Because you would like to go a little bit further. Now, the other one that I thought was really interesting, and I didn't know about until now, is the Stellar SF2603 power catamaran. And it's a power catamaran that's designed to be more like, almost like a sport fisherman, which is really interesting.
Yeah.
I think it's worth reading this really, as if you guys read this article, that's one that you might want to pay attention to. It's a little bit of a different take on a sports fisherman to be a catamaran.
Yeah.
Right. At that size. and have a tuna tower on a power catamaran. Just a little bit different. I thought it was really interesting. And it's got a lot of options with it too. And it has a top speed of 21 knots and a cruise speed of 19 knots with twin Volvo D13s. So it's in 5,200 gallons. So you can go 2,400 nautical miles that it says. So you can get out to your fishing spot, come back. You can do a lot of different things with it, and you can put a tuna tower on it. So you can get a nice outlook of the water too.
Now, obviously, we can't go over all 20 vessels.
No,
in this
we don't have the
guide.
time for this.
The last one that I kind of want to touch on, it caught my eye because it has the retractable foil technology, right?
It's different.
It's different. Yes. It's so with the Infiniti 60 has retractable foil technology. It says it promises a 35% saving in fuel consumption with a top speed of 40 knots. And I thought, I was like, that's unique because I know that there is there are foil assisted vessels out there, foil assisted power catamarans. But a retractable foil technology, I thought that was unique. That's something that I hadn't come across. I'm not saying that it wasn't out there, but I hadn't come across it.
And we see the foil technology a little bit more and more now. We were on a foil assisted cat not too long ago with the Vandal Explorer.
Yes.
And that was very interesting to see how it reacted, and you started to learn what it really does,
right,
and how it works, and the impacts of it,
and the benefits for you. And
exactly right.
Absolutely.
So really interesting. So now seeing it taking a step further, because that was a fixed hydrofoil.
Yes.
Now this is a retractable hydrofoil. So it's there when you want it, there when you don't want it. You know, so that's cool technology to add something like that.
Yeah. Absolutely. Do you have any other models that you want to touch on?
No, I mean, that's listen, all I'm going to say is there's a lot in here that we can't cover with all of them.
Yeah.
And there's a lot that we can't cover in the magazine too, because we're limited to space. And there's a lot of different styles of catamarans out there now. Power catamarans, outboard catamarans, express catamarans. There's so many different things coming online that, you know, I suggest reading this article and then maybe surfing the internet to see what else is out there. Yeah. And if you're looking for a new catamaran, definitely check this article out, because it might bring some things to you and thoughts to you that you didn't know you had just yet, and might transition you from going one direction to the other direction.
Exactly. And if you don't get Southern Boating for just the digital issue, it's only $1 a month. So it's an easy essentially purchase. You get more content in there.
How many times do you buy something for $1 on Apple?
Right. Well, right? I mean, here's the thing also, like if you think about how much Netflix is charging you for stuff that you end up not watching, you can get 12 issues for less than some.
You really got to bring that up. Like, how many months do I have Netflix that I don't even log in?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Or Apple TV, Hulu.
But this you can actually use.
Right? No.
So
absolutely. And just reading, I like the tactile magazine. I like to feel it.
Yeah,
like
I'm the same.
right?
I still buy books.
But I still read our magazine online all the time.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
It's if you need some good reading,
well, I'm in
subscribe.
charge of putting stuff on the website too. So when you see articles on the website, that's me putting them up there. So obviously I read digital because I'm like, oh, okay.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope you're reading what we're putting out. We'll have a quiz later.
Oh, great. I love quizzes.
We're constantly quizzing Ian to bring him up to speed.
Yeah. Hosepipe. I know what a hosepipe is.
Yep. He's getting good at this.
I'm just saying. All right. Thank you very much for sticking around if you made it to this point in the video.
I'm James Anderson.
I'm Ian Sneed.
And we'll see you next time. 15 seconds is good enough. So all these times we could have done 15 seconds and not 20 seconds, and you tortured me for extra 5 seconds all these other times.
I'm just saying 15 seconds was good enough.
Do you know how much torture that is for me?
I don't.
Dude, ADD runs strong with me, okay?
No, I get that.
It's like the poster child. Like when you got a bottle of Ritalin when you were young, my face was on it. What?
You were the warning sign on all the posters. Like, do you want your child to be like this? Just a photo of you.
Yeah.
Okay, ready?
No. I am.
Now you're ready?
No, I'm ready.
Okay.
Okay, let's go.
Okay.